Get ready for 3 interesting real estate facts you should know coming up in this episode of Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast. Cue the music.
You're listening to the Bo Knows Real Estate Podcast. Tips and advice for home buyers, sellers, and owners with award-winning Remax agent, Bo Kaufman.
Hello, I'm your host, Ryan Peterson. Welcome to another episode of Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast with my friend and real estate expert, Bo Kaufman of Remax Performance Realty.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for the great intro. And, anybody who's listening to this will notice right away that there's a bit of a change in the format here. Ryan and I did a series of episodes a few years ago that were called a Real Estate Roundtable. And what I always liked about them was a little back and forth and, two different voices talking. So I kind of want to recreate that here. And I thank you, Ryan, for agreeing to do this with me.
My pleasure. It's great to be back, Bo.
All right. So let's get right into it with 3 different facts about real estate.
Okay, Bo, you must hear this first question a lot from home buyers. When my possession date is coming up, how do I get the keys and get into my new home?
All right, so it really depends on where you are. I hear that a lot of places in the States and different provinces, the real estate agent actually has the key and meets you at your door. But here in Manitoba, it's all done through the lawyers. So here's what happens is about a week before your possession date, you, the buyer, meet with your lawyer, you sign a bunch of papers, you give him a suitcase full of money that he's going to tell you just how much to bring, and you sign the papers, and then you just sit back and wait. At the same time, the seller meets with their lawyer, signs papers, and gives him the keys. And then the day before possession, the lawyers talk to each other and exchange those 2 items. The buyer's lawyer sends the money, the seller's lawyer sends the key. You get another phone call, and the day before possession, you show up at your lawyer's, and he'll give you the key, and with strict instructions not to go into the house until right at the time that's stated on the offer.
I remember getting my first home in 2000, and it was a plain Manila envelope that I got the key in, and honestly, I was expecting a little bit more fanfare, but what are you going to do? You're still excited about the new home. Now, Bo, is the date usually hard and fast, or is there some flexibility, like say a buyer wants to swing by and get some measurements to make sure that the furniture is going to fit a certain way?
Okay, that's a really good question. Answer that question, yes, the date is hard and fast. Now, if it's important to you to take some measurements or to go in for one more look, make sure that your real estate agent, that's the buyer's real estate agent, writes that into the offer, because the seller does not have to let you back in until, let's say it's 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning when you're taking possession. You don't have the right to go back in there. So if you, some people want to do not only measurements, but they also might want to get a contractor to go through. They might want to be ready to do a new kitchen. Make sure you write that into the offer, and that way the seller, when they agree to it, have to let you in.
And it's the worst they can say is no, right?
That's right.
And it's not one of those things that's going to make or break a deal or make you lose out on a house, right?
No, that's right.
Okay, great. Now, let's look at the other side of the equation. Do home sellers get their money right away when the keys are handed over?
All right, so Manitoba, again, was one of the worst provinces until about 6 or 8 years ago. You could basically wait a month for your money. So if if you're moving out of your house on August 15th, you probably didn't get the money until mid-September. That's because here in Manitoba, the new owner, which is the buyer, their lawyer has to register that house with Land Titles Office. And that is a slow, arduous, time-consuming process. Now, it also depends on whether the lawyers are on break or whether they're on holidays or how busy they are, etc. But it usually takes a month. Now, there's a new system came into place. Actually, the system's been around for a while. Manitoba just came on board with it a few years ago. It's called the Western Canadian Protocol, otherwise known just as Protocol. And now you can get your money within a few days. So best case scenario, if you move out on the 15th, you might have the money on like the 18th or 20th, but it can take a couple of weeks still.
Okay. I remember my last move, I ended up owning both homes for a couple of months with some bridge financing. I know I couldn't wait to get my money fast enough when it finally sold.
Right.
Now, Bo, is there a season or time of year when it's better to buy or to sell? Winnipeg's market does seem hot all the time, but there's ups and downs that can be predicted or taken advantage of.
Oh, you betcha. Like, who was it that was credited with saying when everybody else is buying, sell, when everybody else is selling, buy? I think that was Warren Buffett, but I'm not sure. Certainly, the spring is the best time to sell your house. Now, that being the case, that also makes it the worst time to buy your house because you are pretty much guaranteed to be up against 8, 10 other people. It seems like in our market here, everybody waits till the spring to go out and buy a house, start the year fresh. Worst time to buy. Best time to buy is right now. That's be like late summer, early fall. Anybody who wanted and needed a house is moving right now to start, the school year for their kids. Buyers have really taken a break right now, and there's a lot more inventory on the market. So best time to buy is the late summer, early fall, and that's just the way it is in Winnipeg. That's always how it's always been.
It's like you really put yourself in more of a power position at the end of the summer as a buyer, because at that point, they're desperate to move on to the next thing they have planned, right?
Oh, absolutely. And just think of it this way. If you're up against 10 offers in the spring, your offer has to be clean. It has to be big. It has to be, stand out. So now we actually get listings coming on the market where they've had 1 or 2 showings, not offers, just showings in a week.
Wow.
So it's definitely a great time to buy.
And you're probably likely waiving home inspection in the spring where you could get that luxury in the fall, right?
That's right. Absolutely. A home inspection, better financing condition, longer time to make a decision. So it's better all around.
Like my wife and I are always keeping an eye on East St. Paul, and it seems rare when something goes up for sale. What do you recommend to people that are in the market, buyers that are in the market that want an area, but there's not a lot really going on there? What can they do to kind of get on the radar so that the first person in when something pops up?
Okay, so the best thing to do is get a hold of a real estate agent, somebody you know, or somebody you've heard of, or somebody you've worked with in the past. Get them to set up a search, and they can do it by geography, like geographical location. So if you only want a house in a certain radius, right around Pritchard Farm Roads, or around Hodnott or Birds Hill, or whatever, they can set up a search, and anything that comes up comes directly to your computer, and you can see the listing come fresh.
That's excellent. And fortunately, I know a great real estate guy who happens to be sitting across the table from me.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Before we sign off, what are the current mortgage rates doing, Bo?
Ryan, for that, I'm going to turn to my mortgage expert. That's Mike Schroeder with Mortgage Architects when we come right back.
We'll be right back after this short announcement.
This episode of Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast is sponsored by Urban Top Coat Paint and Design, bringing quality fine finishes to your home. Whether you're planning to sell, have just settled in, or looking for a robust color refresh, Urban Top Coat Paint and Design has your home covered. There's quality in their hands, and they leave it in their work. Call Rob White today at 204-791-8024.
All right, we're here with Mike Schroeder of Mortgage Architects to talk about some of the lowest rates available at this point in time, which is like mid-August 2020. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, doing well. How about yourself?
Excellent. All right, let's get right to the point. So you've got somebody that comes to you and says, hey, I want to buy a house and I need a $300,000 mortgage. What is the absolute lowest rate you can get right now?
So the lowest rate I have is a variable rate. You're looking at about 3.8% effective today. And on a $300,000 mortgage, gives you a payment of about $1,545 a month.
And that's principal and interest. Taxes, of course, would be extra.
Of course, yeah. And that's on a 25-year amortization.
Okay, and that was $1,545?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so now what if I'm nervous and I'm not the kind that wants to keep an eye on the mortgage rates every day? What are fixed rates right now?
You're looking at about 4.59%. And so same mortgage amount, same terms. You're looking at about $1,675 a month. So it's about $130 a month difference between the two.
$130 for what some people might think is peace of mind. But of course, there's ups and downs. There's a downside to being locked in for 5 years.
At the end of the day, you want to have a full conversation with your lender. You want to go over your risk appetite, your credit, your income likely changes in the next 5 years, and get a solution customized for you.
Risk appetite. That's got to be the term of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gun to your head, where do you think rates are going to go? Like right now, the variable is lower than the fixed. Do you think that's going to stay that way?
No, I don't. And so there's the next Bank of Canada rate announcements coming up in September. I believe it's September the 7th. Most predictions is that the rate will increase that month. Now, it may increase by a lower amount due to the last inflation numbers, but by whatever does increase, the gap between fixed and variable is going to be reduced to a very slim margin. There are still other reasons to pick variable or fixed, and that gets down to your risk appetite. So all part of that bigger conversation.
Thanks a lot, Mike. We'll talk to you next time.
Anytime. Take care.
Bye-bye. All right, Ryan, I think that's it for this week.
It's been fun as always, Bo, and we've learned a few things about real estate this week. Until next time, this is Ryan Peterson with Bo Kaufman of Remax Performance Realty, reminding you that you're never alone when you're buying or selling a home, as long as you tune in to the next episode of Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye-bye, Ryan. Well, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I've enjoyed creating it, because I really do love it. If you found the information helpful, why not download my free podcasting app? That way you never miss another episode. And I've made it super simple too. Just go to boknows.homes/apps. That's APPS. Available for Apple and Android devices. And finally, please give this podcast a 5-star rating. Again, we've made it super simple. Just go to lovethepodcast.com/boknows. Thank you so much for listening. Let's do this again next week.
You've been listening to Bo Kaufman of Remax Performance Realty. Are you thinking of buying or selling a house or a condo in Winnipeg? Call Bo at 204-333-2202. Remember, Bo knows real estate.